Yeah, selling people because just finished recording another episode of People from the Internet with Celeste Orchid. She's a content creator, and we talk about cosplay, we talk about conventions, and some of the good and bad things that go on in those places. We talk about wedding dresses, we talk about being on YouTube, we even talk about vaginas and dildos as well. So make sure you stick around, hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button as well, and drop a comment. Let me know what you think, and yeah, let me know if there's any other people from the internet you think I should talk to next. But for now, enjoy. Yeah, like I was saying, we've actually met in real life. I guess it'd be about 3 years ago now. I think actually, like
Yes,
2 3 years ago, it was a while
absolutely.
ago at VidCon
Yeah,
in
that was a
London.
crazy time.
And I remember we kind of got put together just kind of random at this desk. You know, there was there was a whole bunch of people, and we just kind of got put together in this desk. But and then we started talking. I think there was about 5 or 6 other people on the same desk, and but yeah, man, it's crazy. 3 years. Have you
Yeah,
been
it's
back
been a long
to
time.
Have you been back to London in that 3 years? No, you just said you're about to come back to, but have you been back and forth in that three
Oh
years or
yeah,
so?
1000%. I usually just go to London and get my hair done.
That's crazy to me,
Like, and
though.
like every once in a while I'll pick up like supplies, but usually it's in the same run. Um, I think we came back the same year to do wedding shopping. I don't remember what year VidCon was, but I think it was either 2018, 2019. And 2019 was the year that we got remarried because we didn't have like the friends and family celebration. And we're like, we have to get presents for everyone that are just like part of the bridal party. And we're like, oh, okay. So let's go to London because we don't want to get them some Scandinavian stuff. So we ended up getting some nice things, and we had a video game tournament at our wedding, so we
Oh,
needed some
nice.
prizes for that. So we got our hair done, video game prizes, and our bridal party some gifts. And just in case we like started looking at wedding dresses because I was making my wedding dress. So yeah, London's always like a time where we go spend money,
Okay.
lots of money.
See, my brothers, they would travel sort of like over across London. Like they would travel something like 20 miles across London to get their hair cut, right? Because their barbershop they're loyal to, right? And I thought that was excessive. I thought that's excessive. You're actually traveling across
Go to
Europe,
another
like
country.
literally.
Like, I don't know of many people that would cross a body of water just to get their hair done professionally. And it's not to say that Danish hairdressers aren't good enough. For those who don't know, I actually live in Denmark. Also American, so it's very complicated. Anyways, yeah, I know of people saying like, oh yeah, I spent a whole day there. I was like, yeah, but do you plan an entire vacation holiday trip just to get your hair done? And I haven't had my hair done by then since 2019. So there's that.
But I guess with cosplaying, I imagine your hair is an important part of it, though. Like in terms of how you have to style it, how you have to maintain it, and to get it to fit with the dresses that you make, or is literally just a personal thing, just getting your hair done in the
Oh,
UK.
no. So this is usually just a personal thing. And with some of my recent costumes, I'm just like, well, since it's blonde, I don't want to use a wig. So I'll just use my hair and it's a little bit easier and it looks more natural. Some people just go out and buy a wig. And I usually recommend buying a wig. But if you're a little bit like on the cheaper side, try to plan cosplays around your natural hair. Even if you're not like, oh yeah, I can only make the outfit, I can't make the prop. Like don't worry about it. Like it's okay. People cosplay their own way, but make sure you have like the look or something.
So,
But I buy wigs. I buy wigs and I've used my real hair for multiple like costumes. So
so here's what I know about wigs, because I have a few wigs that I use in videos.
I've seen them.
I've
I think it's hilarious.
I think your wigs are like there, my wigs are like down here. But
Oh no, 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 no. Like this is my newest wig. I have to cut it out. So for one of my current costumes, I bought this little bob wig, and it's just from this little shop, down by the deli and by the salon. And it's just this little short haircut wig. And I'm just like, I just need a black wig. She's like, I have I have brown. I'm like, no, I need black. And you can get any kind of wig. Some people are like, I need heat resistant Kakalon fiber, like and
yeah,
real
wigs can
hair.
be
And I'm just like,
expensive though. That's the thing, because
oh,
my all my
1000%.
wigs are cheap. And I know
Yeah.
now that since I've bought cheap wigs, I understand why some wigs are more expensive because you have to, especially if you're gonna have it on your head for a while, they can get uncomfortable, they can be itchy.
Oh
But
yeah.
I mean, with your hair though, I mean, does it still? I mean, I guess it does still fit underneath the wig, or does it bulge out once it's all in there or something?
Okay, so if you don't prepare your hair to not bulge, it's gonna have like this like built up little
Right.
tent
Yeah.
right here, especially if your hair is longer. So some people like braid it and then wrap it around in spirals. I usually wear like 2 wig caps. I mean, I don't think you had to deal with that because you're bald. Like
Yeah.
not a bad thing. But I wear a lot of
Bald
wig
and
caps
bearded.
just because of just all the hair, just to compress it. And some people don't do that. And I'm like, your wig is falling off. One, because your hair is pushing it out. Two, like you're sweating. So the sweat is going to move the oils. So there are ways around that. And like if you check out my YouTube channel, you can actually see this basics of cosplay, like how to cosplay basics list. And first one is like how to put on a wig. Because I've seen so many people not know how to put on a wig correctly. Like they flip their wig down and then throw it back. And I'm like, that is the worst thing you can do. Like, please don't. Like don't do that. So yeah, I'm just like, use bobby pins. It's okay to do this. It's okay to get a wig cap or a do-rag and then put it on and then cut the rest of the do-rag off. I'm like, there's different ways to do it, but I'm just like, use a wig cap. It's good for you. Even some of my guy friends, they used a wig cap and they have like a little more hair than you, bandit. So I'm just like, that's you have short hair. Do you need a wig cap? They're like, I have oils. I'm like, that's gross, but okay. Nothing
Your
wrong with that. I have oils.
so your YouTube channel, what I've watched of it, a lot of it when you're talking about sort of cosplay and how to make cosplay, a lot of it to me seems to be sort of focused around not spending too much money. I know you've done a lot of stuff where it's like using like older like scrap pieces and making cosplay from that. Is that like a deliberate thing to maybe encourage more people to do cosplay, or is that just something just this is kind of just how it has to be?
No, 1,000% not. That's how I want it to be because a lot of people are like, "Oh, cosplay is so expensive. Like, I could never do it because this is expensive. I'd rather just buy the costume and instead of the raw materials." Like back when I first started cosplaying in 2005, there was no costume shops. You make that shit. So, oh, am I allowed to cuss?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it's all good, it's all
I'm
good,
so sorry.
it's all good.
But yeah, like you thought like Halloween store wigs were your only source, either imported from Canada or Japan, like that's all you had. And just to have a cheaper version of being like, you can do this without having to spend this much money. Now, there are people out there that spend like thousands on costumes. I've done that. And that's how I won my best master's craftsmanship at New York Comic Con 2011. Besides that, I don't I like the idea of being sustainable or like having a creative mindset of I have this leftover fabric. Can I put this to use rather than just throwing it away and creating more environmental damage? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And with cosplay, it is an absolute not necessary thing to own. So I think with this kind of hobby, it's really detrimental to the environment. And so I think it's really nice to kind of be a little bit more eco-conscious. And that's why I do say, like, oh, I'm going to reuse this wig, or I'm going to use the scraps from this costume, or I'm going to use this costume piece because you can kind of keep it recyclable and keeping the loop within the loop
Mm.
instead of just throwing it
Yeah,
away and not having it.
yeah, and I definitely think no matter what you do, it doesn't hurt to be eco conscious because at the end of the day we all got to share this world, and try and make it last as long as we can. So yeah, definitely.
Thousand
Um,
percent.
so with
Because like,
oh sorry, I'll carry on.
oh, I was about to say like, there's a lot of things that people buy over the internet, as you know, like over the internet. But it's just like, oh yeah, I had to buy this wig from like blah 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 blah. And it's like, even buying a wig from this company is going to put like a carbon footprint because they had
Mm,
to ship it to you. They had to send you the boxes, and it's really not ideal. So it's you take what you want from it, cosplay what you want, but it's it's not something that's really green for the planet.
yeah, I mean, in fact, you did mention. I think it was in a recent video actually. You had I think you had it on the screen. Where it says something like, it was the cosplay you made for I would say Laura,
Oh,
Layla,
Layla or Rayra.
Ray, right? Yes, the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said something like that it would go in the cupboard and never to be worn again. And then I think on the screen you put this is the sad truth of a lot of cosplays. So, I mean, do you just have like a massive box full of old cosplays that are just not worn, or what do you do with them?
Yeah, there's a lot of cosplay in my house, especially as a content creator. Like I have an entire wardrobe meant for it. I have a standing wardrobe meant for it. I have cupboards that are filled with cosplay and I have bags filled with cosplay. It's not because I don't want to wear them. I'm just like, well, being a content creator, I want to keep on making costumes to entertain, but also he's mad at me for having too much cosplay. But also because like the cosplay list never stops. Once you cosplay a certain character, you're like, oh my God, that new outfit. Yeah, I like that too. There's a lot of people who are like, no, this is my dream costume. I'm done. I'm like, name 5 cosplayers that can do that. And it's rare because there's always going to be a new game, like the new Resident Evil or something, or the new Horizon Zero Dawn. Like there's always going to be something out there, some creative mind genius at a video game company, anime company, and they're like, look at this. It's fabulous. And then you can't stop cosplaying. So yeah, that happens with me. And then it's just like, oh, if you actually like mermaiding or being a fairy at Renaissance fairs, it's like that's more LARPing, but it's still a costume because you kind of get in this mindset of like, oh yes, have a happy day here. Here's hearts, and you know, in their water, and they like and they blow bubbles at the kids or something. I don't know, but it's very difficult because lots of costumes that people don't know and aren't like really popular, like the in cosplay show right now in video game, like no one's going to know what it is, and it actually kind of discourages you from wearing that costume. Now to some who do like it, it's just like sometimes it's better just to be like an internet costume. So like if you're a very shy person and you want to wear like the meme cosplay Bowsette, and it's just like, oh yeah, my Bowsette's not a good idea to wear out in public. Oh, why not? Oh, it's like a bra and panty. Like it's not a swimsuit, but if it's a legit thong, you can't go out in public. Like if you can, good for you, but I don't recommend it. You're definitely going to attract the wrong crowd. So be safe with what you choose and what you do cosplay. Sometimes it's okay to cosplay, like just to have it.
That's actually I mean, I know there's with conventions. I mean, I guess maybe not so much over the past year because of what's happened, but
oh yeah,
I know in the past with conventions there has been issues with, you know, people who have taken a few liberties with other people's bodies when it comes to cosplays, you know, and you know, seeing what they're wearing and deciding that it's okay to, you know, grope, touch and stuff like that. And you know, how do you mitigate that sort of thing, or how's that? I mean, like I say, over the last decade, it hasn't been much, but you know, coming back into conventions, like is there sort of safety measures or safety features being put in place to sort of make sure that stuff doesn't happen?
So there's a lot of conventions that have actually started to write this in their terms of service while you're attending the event, where they put it in writing, like cosplay is not consent. It does not mean like this person wearing an outfit is legal for you to touch them. Keep in mind that they are still like a person inside a character that you might like. This does not give you free access. There are still a lot of people who take advantage of younger or newer people into the scene, such as photographers saying like, oh yeah, I'll take photos for you, but like maybe you can do something for me because I'm like, you're using my time and my equipment. It's like, you know, people fall for that. There's not a lot of things that people can stop when it becomes like hands-on, but the community that I've seen has been very active on like calling out like a bad person or trying to prevent something from happening again once someone comes out with the truth of like them being violated. It's very hard for those who are introverted to the highest level, where they don't know how to speak up, where they don't have the courage to speak up. And to that, I say like, that's most of them, because most anime comic book nerds, fans, like most quote unquote, that go to conventions, they go to feel like a place of belonging, like, and all this other things. And, you know, they're very shy, like turtles, but turtles still can be attacked. And unfortunately, they might not have the voice within them to speak up until it's like way too late to do something. Or like it'll all like snowball at once. So it's like one person from over here and then like two over here, and like they'll come together, and then the story comes up, and then it's like, oh, this guy's already targeted like 20, or this woman, maybe this person has targeted like 20 other people, and it's like, wow, if only we could have stopped this sooner. But it really just depends on how strong the community is with telling the truth or not taking advantage of someone because of them being new to the scene.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely is important to try and speak up, but then at the same time, it's also recognizing that it's easy to say that, right? But it's not always that easy to just come and do, like you say, depending on people's personality traits and maybe other things that they've been through in their life and so on. But yeah, as much as we can, I think encourage people to speak and have a place where you can feel safe speaking, because I feel that's maybe is another issue as well. When sometimes people do speak about these things, they're not always believed, and that's another problem in and of itself, where all it takes for you to speak up about a problem, and then you got somebody else diminishing that problem, and then it kind of goes back to square one, so or square zero.
Yeah, I don't know what square that would be, but it's a square that shouldn't exist, and it's very disappointing because I see it a lot in some group threads or some kind of alternative like clothing threads of like, oh, this guy looked at me inappropriately. I'm like, take the stairs before any kind of body language, like being touched. Like, if they're staring, it's because you're unique. Like, if they're staring and like making comments, like, let them. Because at the end of the day, you're enjoying what you are doing. If you want to wear black lipstick and some old lady on the train or on the tube says, oh my God, like this is like an abomination, it's like, lady, you could have died yesterday. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm not hurting you. I didn't kiss you with my black lipstick. Like, I'm respecting your personal space. And to anyone that dares to bother you or to hold judgment in their head about what you put on yourself or on your person, it's like, that's none of their business. You can be wearing like the face, like the Ahegao pictures, like where they're like, you know what I mean? Like all over your body, but that doesn't matter. You're still clothed. You're not defecating on their streets. You're not defecating on their face. So like they need to like stop. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I may be wearing something sexy today, but tomorrow I could be looking like a nun, or like I could be like the best granddaughter knitting you a sweater. So it's like, don't judge someone by what they wear or what they like enjoy having. Like, that's not your story to like, you can appreciate it. Yeah, 1000%. Like, appreciate it. But to criticize is another thing.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, it's like, nobody is just one thing, just because what you see something, doesn't necessarily mean that's all who they are, you don't know the person. So it's just like I say, you appreciate it, you see it, and then keep it moving. But if you're on a train though, like, I mean, I guess another thing about cosplaying is like when you go into conventions and you're on the train, and I mean, do you have like maybe like a big overcoat to cover yourself, or do you just like, I'm wearing what I'm wearing? You just, because I guess like when you're at home, or when you're say further away from the convention and all the regular people are around on the train just doing their business, the nearer you get, it's not so bad, right? Because everyone's in cosplay at that point. But between that, we had a technical
let me put
issue.
her back in her kennel or something.
No, she could stay.
My husband was like,
so good.
My husband's like, can you show her to the balcony? I'm like, all right, I'm kind of busy. But she was kind of working too, so it's fine.
All right, cool. But yeah, technical recording issue, but we're back. So it was. I don't think we lost too much though. We just got up to the. I was checking it. So I was asking you about the train stuff, about being on the train.
Yeah.
You were saying that being cold in Denmark. I think you were saying at that point, and over the coat, wearing it over anyway. And then we talked about what was he talking about after that? Oh yeah, being the other person. He said, yeah, that's quite an interesting bit. You were saying when you wear cosplay and how it brings that another part of you.
1000%. cosplay brings some diva, like some Beyonce version of me, like out. I don't know where it came from. It just manifests. And like, as my Hulk Smash best friend forever says, he says that I become Celeste and not just be me anymore, which is, if anyone doesn't know, my name's Marissa. But he's like, no, she's not Marissa. That's Celeste you're talking to. It's still Marissa, but Celeste is like this higher form that she achieves when she goes to conventions. So I like evolve.
Yeah, no, I think I like you mean.
But there's just something about when you're in costume that you have, like for me, it feels very accomplishing that I've made this entire outfit. I've put on this mask and the hair, and you like it just transforms me to be something that's not my everyday look. And it's really exciting to me in that aspect of this isn't me anymore. I look like this character, but I am me. And to a certain extent, like it actually influences the environment around you. I remember in Los Angeles this one time I was this big fairy with like 6 wings on my back, and this little girl with her dad just getting ice cream. He's like, look, there's a fairy, honey, there's a fairy. And she's like and she was like so happy. I was like, oh Lord, there's a child, please don't talk to me, please don't. And he's like, do you want to say hi? I'm like, okay, I guess I can make this girl's day. I'm like, hi, how are you today? Are you getting ice cream? And she's like, I'm like, do you want a hug? And he's like, go on, you can hug her. I'm like, here, I'll give you a hug. And then we get a really nice hug. Thank you, dog. Just like this. She was so happy. And I'm like, don't give up on your dreams and have a good day. She's like, okay. And it was like the most sweet thing ever. And I'm just like, normal me, I'd be like, this child is an abomination, get it away. Like, children aren't bad. I like kids, but
yeah,
when I'm in costume, I'm like, you're gonna get boogers on my hard worked costume. Get away from me.
I guess kids are kind of like maybe not the one thing, but certainly one of very few things that could kind of break through that, you know, persona. Like you say, where you have that kind of Celeste alter ego, and then kids kind of come along and it takes you back to being Marissa, you know, and
yeah, to a certain point. Like, I think it's really funny because there was this point where I was at a convention and someone's like, hey, can you pose with our kids? I'm like, yeah, sure. So like there's this little girl, she comes up and stands by my friends, and then the parents, they hand me their baby while I was balancing on a rail. And I was like, why did you do this to me? Like, granted, the picture was fine, I didn't fall. I was like so like mother hen mode of like so I had to work really hard on balancing and like making sure that I didn't fall. And I'm like, can you put your baby back, please? Like, please take her back. Nothing wrong with that, but it was quite a moment. And I'm just like, parents and kids at conventions, I think that's fun. I can't wait to like dress up my kids in costume and be like, haha, the tables are turned, guys. So I think it'll be a fun time.
Be real careful you don't drop the baby. Just like balancing,
She's
holding
right
the baby as a whole life in your arms. It's like,
like,
this is not what I intend to.
It's like, this is not my version of fun at a convention. Holding your baby on a rail. Like, first off, I should have been sitting on the rail, but I'm like wearing high heels, and I'm just like, learn to wear not like, don't wear high heels. But I'm a naturally short person, so I wear high heels. Right, baby. Yes. So there's that.
So you said you started cosplaying in 2005, right?
Yes, I do.
What was the thing that like how did it go from, okay, one day you're not cosplaying, then you cosplaying? Like, what was the thing that kind of drove you in that direction?
To cosplay all the time?
Yeah. Or to just start it?
That was actually before that in the making, because I always loved comic book characters. I always loved the video game characters, how they looked, and I've always wanted to dress up as them for Halloween, you know, like the costume holiday. And I was just like, this isn't fair. Like, there's all these like boring, like, oh, be a fairy. Like, nothing wrong with fairies, by the way. Like, be this character from Disney or be this character. And lo and behold, I was like, but why can't I be a character from Japanese anime? Or why can't I be this character from like this movie? And it just finally started sinking in my head. Why don't I make it? And then I wanted to start making it on my own, But it wasn't until I started searching for like how to make something and I found the term cosplay and I was like, other people like me, they want to do this too. Oh my God, I'm not alone. And that really hit me hard. But when I went to my first convention, that was a whole new thing in a nutshell. I was like, holy crap, like there's all these people with even more hardcore costumes than like my badly pieced together cosplay. And some people just look so fantastic. And I was like, I would like to look fantastic too. And I like those characters. And it was just like eye-opening to this whole magical world of other individuals that were super creative with the items that were given. And it's just changed so much from what we once had to what we have now.
What's the biggest changes between cosplaying in 2005 to cosplaying in 2021?
Wow. Okay.
Wow, 16 years of cosplay. Wow.
That's a long time. I could have had a child by then.
That's well, if you did, you'd be old enough to actually let's not go there. That's a but
so,
yeah.
Yeah, about that. So for sure, just the skills of crafters this day and age has leveled up so much. You have people 3D printing, like cutting out with machines, laser cutting, like silicone making kind of stuff, like skull mapping, like you name it. Like people making their own wigs from scratch, or people like custom dyeing their own fabric and sending it off and getting it back, and it's printed exactly the way the game makes it. And it's so crazy how people are just so accurate and pinpointing and creative with what they can do. Back in the day, it's just like, yeah, we got this from our local fabric store. This is what we found. It's not accurate, but you know, it's pink. Like
Close
you get
enough.
either bubblegum pink, hot pink, or you get like no pink. Like that you only get like a few choices. And now it's just like, oh yeah, I know how to custom dye it to make it the perfect off carnation color pink. It's like, wow, you really tried hard for that. Or it's like the different types of wigs now, like the things that people make with wigs are insane. Like some people make their wigs look like cotton candy. And I'm just like, is that possible? Like I never knew that was possible. And some people get the actual like gravity defying, like super spiky hair. And to me, I was like, I didn't think that was possible. And now it is possible. Definitely not in 2005. It was not a thing because people would super gel it and you only had like one wig. Now people add like all these extra hair pieces into it to make it like super, super huge and really make it the anime extraordifying, like this is it. But yeah, it's definitely changed a lot in that retrospect and how commercialized it's become. I don't think it's a bad thing, but at the same time, I think it comes with the bad, you know?
With the commercialization, you mean?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess commercialization in terms of like people becoming, I guess, more mainstream models, or do you mean something else by that?
So when I say commercialization, a lot of people get their egos and they have this like, I created this cosplay first. I have their ownership of it. No one else can cosplay it. And it's like, no, you don't. You're not the first person to do this. You're not the first person to create this costume. Unless it's like the brand new Horizon Zero Dawn or something that's coming out. I know that Horizon Zero Dawn is coming out. So that's all I know. Or like Tokyo Ghostwire or something cyberpunk related. But it's like if it's from Naruto came out in like 2006, like that was early, or 2003 I think, and that's old. Like everyone's done a Naruto character, so like try again. Like that's been cosplayed till the grave, and it's still being cosplayed, not a bad thing. But a lot of new people coming in don't realize that there is kind of this stigma of, oh, I'm new, I'm hot, like I'm the most viral thing and you can't copy me, or you know, blah blah blah. And it's like cosplay is technically copying someone else because we're copying we're already copying like Marvel characters, we're copying Disney princesses, Japanese anime, like video games, and you know, the list goes on. But at the same time, it just that's the bad part. And you also get things such as, like I mentioned earlier, cosplay is not consent movement of where people think like, oh, your body's able to be touched, I can touch you, or the groping or the underskirt pictures, which is really dangerous. If like you're wearing a cute idol outfit and someone's just like, haha, snap, and it's like, someone just got a picture of my butt and that's gross, like that's rude. And with more mainstream, you're going to attract more people that are wrong in the mindset, or
Yeah.
kind of predators, and I think that's very dangerous for those who are weak against it, don't have that McAfee antivirus stuff, but no spam blocker there. But that's why I say it comes with the bad, and it also raises the prices of events a lot. So, once was Little Comic Con in San Diego. Now it's you have to buy in advance, wait in line, get your tickets. The hotels is so much more expensive. And I don't think it's a bad thing for it to become more mainstream, for it to get more popular. But again, for those who only had that, now they can't afford it. Or maybe they have to work so much harder to be able to afford it.
Yeah, and I think I get that in terms of like when it was say smaller, it was like something. It was a community of people, and everybody was there. But then, especially as you say, when prices do go up, the people who maybe that was the only thing they had, now they can't afford that, and now they don't have anything, and that sucks. I think there's similar kind of examples of that throughout various sorts of things when it becomes say more mainstream or more well known. And I think you see that a lot with like musicians and bands when they get bigger, and instead of the old school fans, they don't really like it because of similar sorts of reasons. So
Exactly.
I guess it's kind of a common thing throughout various things, actually. But okay, that's pretty interesting because I didn't really thought of it that way. I mean, my cosplaying is very very basic. Like I've done it, well, technically twice. Once was a fancy dress party, so that doesn't really count, I suppose. What kind of does, what kind of doesn't. They don't call it cosplay; they just call it fancy dress. But in terms of actual cosplay, I've done that once at an event at a convention where I cosplayed as Nick Fury, which was
you'd be an amazing Nick Fury.
It was the easiest cosplay because
I want to see it.
All I had to do, I mean, because I had a long leather jacket at the time anyway, right? So I just put that on, and I bought an eye patch, which I think I still have somewhere actually.
Oh my god!
And I just had that, and I don't have my hair cut low anyway, right? So yeah, that was my Nick Fury.
We have to do a cosplay podcast. You have to be a Nick Fury next time I see you.
I don't have that coat anymore, which is a shame. You don't
need to have that coat. Just have the bloody bandage one from Captain Marvel.
I've stuck a
find like, does this look bad to you?
That patch. I've stuck to find that patch. I'm sure I still got it somewhere, but I don't know. They're not that hard to get eye patches, so I'm sure I could get another one if I need to.
Patches are easy to find, especially with pirates. So.
But yeah. But it was fun to do it, though. It was fun. And I remember one of the things with me, even though it was a very basic cosplay, you had plenty of people in these amazing outfits. You're still getting stopped by people asking to take photos and, that sort of thing and say, oh, wow, that's so cool. And, I think I did an interview with one guy, like a kind of mock interview as Nick Fury.
So fun.
But I imagine that's like just your pretty much your everyday when you go to conventions, is people stopping you and taking pictures and asking you stuff and,
depends at this point in time, because it really just depends. Do they know your character? Like, do they like your character and such like that? I think one of the last events, oh my god, the last event I went to was in 2019. Look at that. I actually dressed up as meme sensation Bowsette, Bowser with the mushroom crown, and it's like a really sexy outfit. It wasn't popular at my local convention at all. Like, I didn't get that many pictures of me taken. Not like it's a bad thing. I enjoyed that event anyways. But the one thing that did get me stopped from that was like this guy. This is the other side of like commercializing conventions and such. And it's not a bad thing, but it's maybe depending on who you are. This guy just like stops me. He's like, oh hi, I saw you from across the hall and you were just so beautiful. I had to say hi. I'm like, hello, it's nice to talk to you. He's like, wow, what are you dressed as? Like, oh my god. I'm like, do you live under a rock? Like, it is the meme sensation Bowsette, like, mushroom crown. Like, I feel like everyone in Reddit and Twitter blew up with this. And this guy was asking me who I was. And I was like, I clearly had the horns and everything. I mean, maybe I need to be green. I don't know. But he kind of went off on this tangent, like, wow, you're so pretty and you're so beautiful. Do you want to get coffee sometime? I'm like, no, I'm sorry. He's like, oh, why? Like, oh, are you from Denmark? I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, wow, did you fly all the way here? And I'm like, I might as well just run with saying no because I can't get any other words. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, wow, okay, maybe we could do lunch right now. I'm like, I just got here. And he's like, oh, okay, so you just want to enjoy the event? Like, okay, cool. Man, if I get your number, I'm like, I don't have a Danish number. And like, I just couldn't stop saying like no to this guy because one, I am married, and two, this guy was very, very aggressive on just trying to spend time with me. Not a bad thing. But again, I am married, so that is a downfall for him. So he's just like, oh man, it's, just spend time, you probably go back, you got to go back to the country you came from. You're probably just here for the weekend, but it's really nice to meet you, and this other person, like another cosplayer came up, they're like, how's that? Wow, it's so cool to meet you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, you look so great too. And he's like, wow, is this your friend? I'm like, yes, semi-lie. All cosplayers are normally friends. And he's like, wow, it's so good to see you. Like, what's up, man? And it's like, yeah, this is what we do in Denmark, and blew it up. I was like, in my head, by the way, I'm like, are you for real? I'm American. I'm from the US of A. And you're telling me this is what you do in Denmark? Bitch,
Yeah.
I know about this. Like 10 years ago, you were probably in freaking high school. Like, you probably still are in high school. Like, stop. Like, you're just digging your grave worse. I'm an old lady. Like, stop. And he's just like, well, I hope to see you later. Yeah, just make sure you bump and explode. And I was like, please leave me alone. Don't ever find me again in your life. Like, this was so embarrassing for you. Like, you don't even know it. Like, I'm just like, wow. I thought it would be a normal event. No. I don't get that. I don't have that. I have been often ever since I moved to Denmark, but that was the first. Oh, that's a lie. That was the second. The other one was a little bit weird, but it wasn't the same kind of situation. But it was a very clingy photographer. And I think I could tell with how he was acting, it was just I was very conscious where he was at all times because I felt I was being stalked. And he kind of was, because my friends called it out too. They're like, this guy's been like hovering around kind of like your area and blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, he wants to shoot with me a little bit more, but I think I'm going to like say no politely and just go home. The guy was a little strange. Yeah. That time I was dressed as Boo-Ed. So instead of Bowser being with the mushroom crown, I was King Boo with the mushroom crown. So I was in like an all white outfit. I had my full contact scaleras in. And he's like, wow, you look so good. Let's get some pictures. And when later, like after, when he sent me the pictures, wow, they look so terrible. Like I know the convention location is like not the best lighting, but dang, like he did a really bad job. So that being said, he's like, wow, we should really go to this location where like the lighting is nice and we're outdoors next to these. They really suit your character. I'm like, oh, that sounds really cool. Yeah, that's fine. But as like progressed through the event, like he kind of like hovered. So like imagine back over that way where my coffee machine is, he would be standing over there just kind of like
yeah,
like checking and just waiting on me just to go shoot with me.
Bit too bait about it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, look, bruh, just enjoy the event. Like, if I'm going to shoot with you, I'll shoot with you. But right now, it ain't happening. So calm your tits. Like, it was just so overzealous.
Calm
but
your
I also
tits. That's a very British phrase.
Is it?
You pick that up in London, or do they say that in Denmark?
Oh no, I just say that naturally. Like I also say like I fancy it. So
okay.
I don't know.
Cool.
I don't say wicked as much as some people, but yeah, it was definitely one of those like weird experiences. Not as weird as the guy trying to like go on a date with me. That hasn't happened in quite some time since a lot of people know that I'm married.
Well, do you find that? I mean, I don't know. I guess either your wedding rings are covered, or maybe sometimes they're off. But do you find like or you maybe don't want to display. I don't know, but do you find that when people do say come to you and you get you start to get a bit too pushy with certain things? Do you have like a sort of I don't know what's the word I'm looking for like a thing that you do or something that you say to kind of get yourself out of these situations, like when it's clear that maybe the photographer is a little bit too creepy or they wanted something more than just photos, and you just kind of like, okay, I know what's going on now. Do you have like a thing that you do or something that you say to make sure that you get out of those situations safely?
I mean, I haven't had to really do anything along those lines, but I do have the moments where I'm just um, like I can't wear this costume anymore. I'm very uncomfortable, or like I have to go take my contacts out. It kind of kills the costume. Maybe we could shoot another time. I do wear a lot of makeup, and I would say something along the lines of, "Oh, my makeup's ruined. I can't shoot with you anymore." Which it's very true that you can't wear like 24-hour makeup sometimes for theatrics, and it's especially body paint. If you sweat all day or something like that, it's going to melt. It's going to melt off. So you're not going to get the best photos that you want, and it's the truth. And it's just like, well, I just try to play honest. But if someone's literally trying to date me instead of like costume photos or something along those lines, I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, but my husband is picking me up soon. Or, oh, look at the time. Like, oh, goodness me. Well, my husband, I mean, he is coming soon. Let me check my watch. Oh, wait, my watch is on this hand, my right hand. Yeah, but my left hand where my wedding ring is, like, just so subtly like throw it and punch it in their face. And just say, yeah, I'm getting picked up by my rich husband. He's gonna like get me a dinner now. Thank you. Like
Rich husband.
like that kind of thing. I don't say rich husband, but I just say like, my husband or like my man.
Well, he did get you that phone, didn't he? So I guess he's doing okay.
What?
I saw that video. You say you got your phone. Was it the Samsung something?
Yes! Oh my god! Look at this.
So,
like,
yeah.
I love this phone. Look at it. It is so cute. Like, we're not sponsored, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and not other people. It is a Samsung Flip. I love it. I haven't switched over my memory card just yet, or SIM card, because I'm still editing my Disneyland trip. And until I'm done editing my Disneyland trip on my current iPhone, I don't want to switch it. So when that's done, you'll know that this is switched. But
so,
it is legit nice.
Speaking of husband, actually, so you have, I think, like maybe 2 or 3 videos on your channel showing how you made your wedding dress.
Oh yes,
and
that's some of my famous videos.
Yeah, they're quite popular.
Oh, yeah.
There are, I mean, so you made your own wedding dress as well.
Twice.
I get it. Wait,
Twice.
Wait, you got married twice? Oh,
yes.
Wait, same guy? Oh wait, I'm
Same
crying
guy.
too much now. Okay.
No. Okay, here. I'll spill it out so you don't feel awkward. Like it's not a bad story. I tell this story all the time. It's a treasure to me. So we got married. We eloped first to go to Denmark, and it's not because I wanted to flee the country. No, it's we love each other, and because his team is based in Denmark, that's why we moved here. Denmark was like, oh yes, you can bring your girlfriend along. Where's the marriage certificate? Now, keep in mind, they said you can bring your girlfriend along. Where is your marriage certificate are 2 different things. And so we had to get married. Not a bad thing. Luckily, we pulled it together. Got married on the hottest day in 2017. Or was it 2017? Yeah, 2017. And it was like, I don't know what it is in Celsius, but I felt like 40 Celsius. And in Vegas. So it was dry heat, just blistering sun, no clouds. It's so painful. And, we just got married at a little chapel, very nice, had a nice dinner with some of my friends. And then, lo and behold, a few years later, our families were just like, oh, if only we were there to see you get married. Oh, if only we had a real ceremony, where your father could walk you down the aisle. And so we're like, all right, shut up. We'll do it. And so we planned a giant chateau wedding in France where we rented a castle chateau, And then I was like, well, this is the last wedding. We're not doing it again. We're not going to do anything crazy anymore. I need to make the dress that I want. And I mean, I could have bought one, but are you going to find a silver wedding dress? No. So I made a silver wedding dress for me because I wanted that and I wanted it to feel very elegant. Now, the funny part is my husband was not allowed to see it at all. So I would always ask people to come in. I'd be like, hey, I need opinions. Come in, help me. And they'd be like, no, it just looks really great. I can't believe you're making this. I'm like, thanks. And then, like, my husband would just be sitting there, like, playing video games. He's like, I can't see anything. And like to his knowledge, he thought it was going to be balls to the wall, like cosplay, like heaven. No. It was just very elegant and very couture based. So there was a lot of hand beading, lots of lace, lots of details, and he thought there was going to be like floating wings or something. I'm like, as much as I would like to do that, I think my mom would yell at me. She did say like, oh yeah, if you had like an outdoor wedding, you know, you could have fairy wings, but that would be too costumey and I would hate that, and that would be so like so weak and like lame. I'm like, oh my god, mom, you're such a jerk for like ruining my dreams. But she's not. She ended up like showing, and it was just funny how that happened because I'm just like, as long as dad can make it down the aisle, that's what matters. That's what matters. She's like, oh, okay, you know, I'll just stay home. And I'm like, what do you mean? You gave birth to me. You're not coming to my wedding. Oh my god, my mom hates me. She's like, oh, I didn't know that's what you meant. I thought you only wanted your dad to come. I'm like, no, of course I want my mom to come. And she's like, okay, well, I gotta start planning. Like, what should I wear? I'm like, you have to wear silver too. It was like this whole like thing. So nah, just a little bit because my mom, she gets a little emotional and she doesn't show it. And I know in her heart, like her soul's like, my daughter hates me. She doesn't want me at her wedding, her second wedding to the same guy. But no, it's more along the lines of like, I play it forward so she doesn't have to.
So it was like making a wedding dress like compared to say doing a cosplay. Like, was it harder, easier, same sort of thing, or what's the differences or similarities there?
So with the wedding dress, this is really, to me, it is a one-time thing, but cosplay you can wear multiple times, and with the wedding dress you have one day to get this right. You have one chance to make like the jaw-dropping statement. As opposed to a cosplay, you could always take it back to another event, you could always take it to something else. I think it was really fun in the essence of like just getting the materials and actually feeling like, oh, this is a wedding dress. And my husband actually helped pick out the materials for it because originally I was going to hand embroider all of it, and just I had a lot of time. I wasn't in school yet. And so he's like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to get you this fabric. I'm like, yes, buy all of it. And so he got me this silver lace that like they don't sell anymore. So I feel very lucky to be able to have that. And that happens with a lot of cosplays, but I think having my own creation in mind is the harder part because you don't know what direction it could go. You don't know like what the end result could be until you actually wear it or see it. Like there's designing processes that I had where I thought my dress was going to be like huge, but when I thought about it, I wanted it to be a more like elegant silhouette and not so like ball gown princess like poofy dress. I wanted to be a little bit more mature. And I think having that freedom as opposed to being stuck to a specific character, like yeah, you can modify bits and pieces, but it's like ideally you want to stick to what this character wears. Like if you're going to be like Black Widow, you should either do like a really skin tight suit or you can do like a shirt with pants, but you can't wear like a corset. Like that doesn't make sense for Black Widow. Like you don't do that. Yeah,
slight variations, but too far gone, and you just something else completely.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with that, then, I mean, have you thought about? I think I've watched this before actually, but have you thought about doing say more things like wedding dresses, like maybe for other people, or say more traditional sort of fashion clothes and things like that? Is that something that you thought about, something that you'd want to do, or do you not care for that?
Oh no, 1,000%. I've wanted to do more couture gowns and things, special occasion events. The downfall with that was like my husband and I researched what could I have done? What do I want to do? And I was going to do an atelier apprenticeship in London. I was looking for things like that. And eventually we realized we couldn't really leave Denmark just yet because of his contract. And then we also wanted to get our citizenship. This is before Brexit. And we were like, okay, we will finish our EU citizenship here and then we'll move to London. And then I can do that there as long as I build up the skills. And then Brexit happened and then COVID happened. And so we're putting that on the back burner for now. I am in talks with some designers here in Copenhagen, discussing like maybe being a freelance seamstress with them, but it wouldn't be such a couture kind of thing because there's a lot of less events and it's not so hardcore. But some of my friends, they have said that they would like it if I was going to be their wedding dress designer. I'm like, I might be able to do it. Let's just see. Like, well, sometimes it's the hardest thing.
So with, I guess another question that is going to start coming up a lot as well is, you know, we talked about just about Brexit and the pandemic. You know, I guess the obvious one is things like conventions being cancelled. But has this whole thing, Brexit, the pandemic, and everything that's been happening, has that affected what you do in other ways?
1,000%. It's affected my YouTube channel. I used to be able to get a lot more views, a lot more clicks, but because a lot of people aren't being able to afford making cosplays, or there's no events for you to go wear cosplay, a lot of people have just stopped making cosplay for a year or a year and a half, at this point 2 years. And it's been a little bit difficult because no one is doing that. So my channel isn't doing the best in its own right. And then getting things from China now is a little bit more expensive because of the EU laws that have been passed. And it's just changing like the game. And it's like, okay, well, now I can't get this pre-made costume as cheap as I thought I would. Or, okay, now I can't get this wig, or I have to find alternative solutions when this wasn't a problem before. Especially when we had planned to go to several events in Japan, such as like the launch of Super Mario World in Universal Studios Park in Japan. We're like, oh, I had like this huge like fashion like idea of wearing clothes that I've made to put that on my YouTube channel, and that didn't happen. And that's content that never gets to see the light of day or doesn't get to be created. So not only has things like that happened, like a lot of events that I have applied to be a convention guest at, they don't exist right now. So I can't really go to London and be like, oh yeah, here's a small con and blah, 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 like Brighton, Birmingham. And it's like, oh, well, if that con doesn't exist, I guess I can't be a guest.
Yeah, conventions, I think some conventions have started opening up now though, right? But I guess everything's a bit smaller now and maybe not as many people are allowed in and you know, that sort of stuff going on. Yeah.
Right. Like now they're holding tickets very, very high in demand. So you can only have so many people at a certain point. And like the fire laws are even being shut like a lot more strict. So it's just like you have to be spaced out appropriately. You need to have your masks, need to be vaccinated or something, or prove that you've been COVID free with like PCR testing. And I think it's just really difficult because when you used to go to conventions back in the heyday before COVID, they didn't really wear deodorant. So what makes you think that they're going to be clean now? Like, like how I'm not trying to like throw people under the bus, but it's just like, have you been to an anime convention gaming room? Like, can you walk out without feeling like you need to take a hot shower? And like, it's kind of painful, but it's like, those are my people. I wouldn't say I miss that smell, but I do miss the atmosphere.
Yeah. And I get that. I mean, sometimes you got to take the rough with the smooth. You know,
like at a certain point, I believe it was in like the convention guides where it says like if you spray Axe on another person, that is a federal offense or something, or some kind of like county offense that you could be put in jail because you're like you're assaulting someone. So it's seen as the same idea of spraying pepper spray or mace on someone.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, oh my God, what? And I'm just like, because they smell bad? Like, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Like,
just gotta hold your nose.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, I guess I'm going in there gonna smell like all floral up, and I'll be like, oh yes, here's my flowery goodness. Just like Squidwarding it out. It's fine. That was sometimes when I went to the game room. A lot of people didn't expect me to be good at gaming, and I'm like, I can hold my own sometimes, not all the time, but I can try.
That's something that comes up a bit. I think a lot of women say some similar things where it comes to gaming, where people tend to assume that they either don't really know much about games or can't play games. And do you find yourself like being underestimated and having to whoop somebody's ass at Street Fighter or something, or League of Legends? I guess you play League of Legends quite a bit. Is that?
A lot of week. Yeah. So actually, funny thing you mentioned that. One of my newest emotes on my Twitch channel is actually my hands doing this. This is my win emote. So whenever I win, I'm always like really excited. I get really hyped up. I'm like, ah. So there's two parts to this, like this thing, and to me, it represents a lot for me. These are obviously foxes, but to me they're rabbits, because rabbits don't really have their ears like right next to each other. They have a small skull, but they're more like this. So this is like that, but yeah, it's like that. So this is like a rabbit for me. But if you go like this, what, like, I don't know, do you know what this is?
Diamond.
Correct, it is a diamond, but in other words, it's also known as a vagina. So
Okay.
I learned this one from my roommate, and she's just like, oh yeah, I was trying to teach him how to do the heart,
diamond,
like
vagina.
this.
Yeah, I can see the
So, you know, this is a heart. And so this little kid didn't understand how to curve his fingers like this to make the heart, which I love making hearts like this. I love hearts like this. So you
Oh, wait,
stretch out your middle finger and bend your index. Other way.
Oh, wait.
Nope. Index. Index finger bend. Straighten out your middle finger. See? You can get. Ah!
This is hard.
You did it! It's such a curved heart.
It's gonna
Good
take
job.
some practice.
Yeah. So this little kid, he didn't understand, so he kept doing this. And then my roommate, she's like, "Oh, this means vagina." And I was like, "I've never known that. I thought that was just a diamond. Oh my god!" And then I did this. I was asking my stream one time. I'm like, "Hey, like this is really related. Okay, don't worry." I'm like, "Hey guys, what does this mean?" And they're like, "Oh, vagina fingers. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, you're doing vagina." Like, I'm like, "Okay, good. Just letting know. Like, just checking if my stream knows." So whenever I win, I feel like that's a win for women out there. That's not just me. To prove that there are women that can be good at gaming, that can be fun to play games with, to show that, you know, it's not just the guys having fun and playing games. And some women make money off of playing games. So like there's that in a bag of chips. So this is very representative of like me. And then there's like W if you connect the lines for like win, like this.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like a win emote.
Rabbits and vagina. Right. So you know, rabbits is actually a slang term for dildos, so it all kind of fits in.
I'm so hurt. Why would you tell me this? I love rabbits.
It all fits. It all.
Okay, that's fine. We're screwing men over. We got vagina screwing men over. Win like this. There's a W. Dildo, like, yeah. So I actually used to win or get pretty high up in Soul Calibur tournaments, Dead or Alive tournaments in my local area. Definitely was pretty good at Smash Brothers. I'm not good at Smash Brothers anymore. My husband beats me all the time. So, not in a good way. In video games, he doesn't hurt me outside of Smash. But yeah, it's just been very, very crazy because a lot of people are like, "Oh, wow, I didn't expect you to be so good." It's like, you expected me to suck because I'm pretty? It's like, ha, get down on your knees, bitch, and lick my boots. Like, and so I like saying this to people. I'm just like, be my bottom bitch. Like, it's kind of mean, but at the same time, it's like a lot of people just play games, and I'm like, it's just a game. Like, it's not who defines me. Like, yes, I am a gamer, but I don't just sit there and play games like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. I do like Animal Crossing or Minecraft. Like, I do like playing competitive games, and they'll probably I call myself like the most competitive casual player because I may not make it out of brackets. Like, I've made it out of brackets like a few times, But outside of that, like, no, I don't care. I don't have anything to prove. Like, I'm already there having a good time. But if I need to beat some ass, I will. And then they know I'm a threat.
Yeah, well, you gotta step it up. You gotta step it up.
Oh yeah. It's actually like, okay, really quickly, like
That's
quick
right.
side note.
The floor is yours.
Yes, here we go. Here we go. Here's story time with Celeste. It's actually a very common thing to test my little sister's boyfriends because my sister, she's a Twitch streamer as well now. She streams a lot of Smash Brothers Ultimate, and for the longest time, I'm just like, oh, okay. So you're dating a gamer guy? Yeah. He plays Smash. I could beat his ass. The day he beats me is the day I recognize him as your boyfriend. like that. Because like for the longest time until I met my husband and he worked really hard to be where he is at the top of our family chain, I was the best Smash player in our entire family. Like no one could beat me. Well, they can beat me, but I would get the best of like so many matches. And so there's that in a bag of chips. So at the same time, it's like if you could beat me, like you know you're good at the game. If you can't beat me, you're a fucking scrub and get the fuck out of my face. Like
That
it
sounds like
seems
something you get in
mean.
a martial arts movie. Just like you'd have to beat like somebody at kung fu or something to be recognized as any kind of equal or anything to get any kind of respect. It's like
Oh, 1,000%. So we have these battles whenever I went back home. Like growing up with my family, I have an older brother, a younger brother, two younger sisters, and my brothers and I always played Soul Calibur. And Soul Calibur is one of the games where we will go until the dawn. We will go until twilight. We will not stop playing. Same with Tekken. And I've recently started picking it back up, but it's so funny because my brother would be like, he's like, Bats, spiders, you're cheating. Oh my God. Did you see that? I kicked you and the game glitched. Oh my God. I'm like, the game loves me. I'm its goddess. The soul is in me from the game. And like, we would watch the replays whenever like you lose, you see a replay and you saw the glitch so clearly. And I'm just like, I can't help you. This is not my problem that I'm winning because this glitch happens to your character. And it's just funny how whenever we come home, it's like, hey, you want to play Tekken? You want to play Soul Calibur? And we would be playing until like the sun comes up, and we're now like definitely past our like young ages of like teenagers. But my brother would just be like, hey, you want to play Chicken? And Chicken is a very special version of Soul Calibur and Tekken. You either throw or you get out. You don't hit, you just throw. So you have to duck or you throw or you duck and you throw. And it's a very special game of Chicken. So it's like the funniest thing because it's like, I'm gonna grab you. So it's like the funniest things. And like you learn how to like read your opponent and like think of new ways out of the box to attack. And a lot of people don't throw. A lot of people don't like playing like that. And it's just really funny how we have like this whole King of the Hill system. I usually win like most of the matches. It's just too funny. It's too silly. But the girl comes up on top.
Yeah, I used to be like with my brothers with a Mario Kart. Like it just kind of became sort of a tradition. Like each Christmas where we get that the N64 out, and like play Mario Kart, and I'd always play as Peach because Peach was the best. But Peach named your dog, actually, isn't it? So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there's Baby Peach. Baby Peach.
Yeah. It was like we did that like every year up until the N64 broke, and then it was like, man, it sucks, But yeah, well.
Here she is. That's a Peach. Here's Baby Peach. This is Peachy. Hi, Baby Peach. She's our Baby Peach.
Right,
but
so,
yeah.
So yeah, before we end today, then there is one thing that I do want to bring up with you. Kind of a question, kind of a statement, kind of a little bit of both, but something that I noticed. So on your YouTube channel, you mentioned that the wedding videos are super popular, right? And my videos do okay, of course, but the wedding videos are super popular. And I feel like with YouTube and being on YouTube, the easiest thing, in fact, I guess the thing that most people would advise you to do is to pivot towards doing wedding videos because that's what's popular, that's what people want to see. But you stuck with doing cosplay and talking about tutorials and your cosplay experiences and things like that. And for me, I feel like that shows a clear passion towards cosplay because it's not about being here to get the big numbers. It's about doing something that you're passionate about, and for the community that appreciate it. I mean, but did you ever feel like that temptation to be like, oh, this video's done really well? Did that temptation to do more of those types of videos and to pivot towards that side? Or was it always for you just like, you know what, I'm clearly always going to do cosplay. I do some other stuff from time to time, but I'm always going to be cosplay. How's that for you?
So actually, I did try doing a wedding channel only, and some of the videos did not take off. And
Okay.
I wanted to test the waters, to be fair, because I wanted to listen to what the people were telling me, what analytics was telling me to follow. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this video on like a beach version of a wedding dress, or I'm going to listen to one of my subscribers. They were asking for an anime Egyptian themed wedding dress. And I made it. I found a character that I really liked. She already had a white dress, but I turned it into something a little bit more appropriate for a wedding. And those videos didn't do well. And I was really shocked. One of the videos that did do well, but hasn't continued to grow was the Catwoman wedding dress. And that on its own was a cosplay and it was a wedding dress. But that one didn't get over the amount of views that I thought it would. It definitely didn't. It was definitely a viral video for me, considering at the time when I made it, I was a much smaller channel. But it didn't grow the way that I thought it would. And so I decided like you can only do wedding things so long forever unless I have like a new bride, or if I keep making wedding dresses for myself, what do I do with these? Like with cosplays, I know that there's going to be someone out there that can wear this again versus another white dress, another white kind of thing. Like it doesn't make sense for me to keep making wedding dresses that's never going to see the light of day, that won't see a bride using it, or it won't be used at all, or this isn't content that people want to see. So it's been a little bit difficult in that aspect of actually following the advice of what people had told you to do, especially if it doesn't pick up. So that was something that really hit hard in the dark, and it really hurt my channel for a bit for me to stop trying to do the wedding dress thing and weddings in general until we did our chateau wedding. And that kicked back again with like making the garters, my wedding dress shoes, and my dream wedding dress video. I still focus on cosplay because in the long run, it is a little bit more searchable. It is a little bit fatty, quote unquote, like the next trend. But at the same time, with events starting to come back, you're probably going to have more people doing cosplays than wedding dresses. Oh, there's Bowsy. Hello, Bowsy. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a challenge in that essence of always trying to find the right cosplay to have on the channel versus what I want. So like the most recent one that I did push on my channel, it's not popular, but to the fans that like this character, it's nice to see like there are clicks, there are views. And yeah, overall it might actually hurt my channel, but I like it. And the fact that I'm able to put that out versus not put out anything for a long time is good in my book.
Okay, cool. All right, so I guess for you then, it's knowing that you're putting something out there that is helping somebody in some way. That maybe they can inspire. In fact, I think you say on your channels, stay inspired, stay creative. So I guess that's what it comes. Yeah. I guess that's what it comes down to, just to trying to inspire that in other people.
Oh, 1,000%. Like it's so hard because being a one-woman show, that means I do the editing, the directing, the produce, like the making of the actual costume. And I've seen some other channels where it's like this person has like a full team of like 5 people helping them, and they have already figured this out. And some people, they're just so well known that they don't need to worry about other things. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's just me. Like I still have to take care of like my pets and I still go to school, and it's just a little bit harder. But at the same time, I'm like, I still put out content, and for people who are just like, oh yeah, I don't want to work on cosplay today, I'm like, I think about them, and I'm like, but why not? You have all this material that you have to do, and you don't have to put a video out on YouTube for this. And like, I have how many outfits? Like, I have like 4 cosplays right now that have not been edited. And I'm just like, ah.
They're
But
coming,
it's like,
coming soon.
yeah, it's a thing. Oh wait, that's not correct. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 outfits, because I just finished one like yesterday, literally. And I'm just like, ugh, it's done. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm very proud to be able to finish like so many costumes so quickly, but at the same time, I wish I was very quick with editing, which I could be, but I'm not.
Well, sometimes it's not about doing it quick; it's about doing it right. So,
Exactly.
you know. All right. So, yeah, I guess that's a good place to wrap up. But Miss Orchid, or well, Mrs. Orchid, really, I should say, respect the marriage.
Actually, I'm Lady Orchid. So
Lady Orchid,
I actually
okay.
own, yeah, I actually own land in Scotland. So I'm
okay.
a lady.
Lady Orchid. I'm sorry,
Thank you.
respect on the name. Put some respect on the name.
Thank you.
Lady Orchid. Any last things you'd like to say before we go? Anything you want to mention? What you're doing? Where to find you? Or anything else you want to mention?
I'll just throw some things out. Here's a little quote for you guys. Don't put off what you can do tomorrow, do today. You might die, so do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my motivation in life. If I died tomorrow, will I be happy that I finished the things that I did? And that's what keeps me going. Remember to stay inspired, be creative, and I will see you on my YouTube channel. Make sure to search for Celeste Orchid on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yes, definitely do that. Check there'll be some links in the description as well. But yeah, Lady Orchid, thank you. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
This has been awesome. But yeah, hopefully we'll be doing more of these. And yeah, like you said, we're gonna have to do that that cosplay stream at some point as well.
Yes, Nick Fury cosplay stream. I actually am planning a Scarlett like Johansson Black Widow costume.
Oh,
it's been a little bit hard, but I have most of the things ready to be cut up and printed and worked on and painted. So it's just a little bit of effort.
All right. Well, look out for that cosplay stream, Nook Fury and Black Widow coming soon.